If you open your bank account right now and feel a familiar knot in your stomach because you don't see $1 million sitting there, I need you to listen to me very carefully. You are carrying a heavy burden that was never yours to carry in the first place. For decades, you have been told a specific story by an industry that profits immensely from your anxiety. You have been told that if you don't cross a massive, arbitrary financial finish line by the time you reach your 60s, your retirement is going to be a constant, terrifying struggle. You have been made to feel like you are perpetually behind. But I am here to tell you that this simply isn't true. Over the next few minutes, I am going to show you the mathematical and psychological reality of why having less than $500,000 saved often means you are actually ahead of the game. I will show you why you might be sitting on a much safer, more secure retirement than someone who has double or even triple that amount but doesn't understand the real rules of the game they are playing. Take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop, and let's dismantle this heavy illusion together. There is a very specific reason the $1 million rule or the $1.5 million rule exists. It is what I call the sticker price illusion. Think about how the traditional financial industry actually makes its money. Wall Street, massive wealth management firms, and loud investment gurus do not profit off your peace of mind. They do not profit off your quiet, comfortable Tuesday afternoons spent with your grandchildren. They profit off something called assets under management. The more money you keep parked in their accounts, the more fees they collect year after year. Their entire business model relies on convincing you that you need a mountain of capital just to survive. They focus entirely on the total size of your pile because that is what benefits their bottom line. But real life doesn't run on the total size of an investment portfolio. Real life runs on cash flow. Let me give you a very simple way to visualize this reality. Imagine you are heading into a vast desert and you have two choices for survival. You can take a massive 1,000-gallon water tank that has a slow, unpredictable leak at the bottom. Or you can take a much smaller 100-gallon tank, but this one is connected to a deep underground spring that constantly, quietly refills it with fresh water every single day. The financial industry wants you desperately trying to build the 1,000-gallon tank. They want you obsessed with the sheer volume of the water, hoarding every drop. But when the stock market drops dramatically, that tank leaks. When inflation spikes unexpectedly, the water evaporates. And all the while, no matter how much you have, you are terrified of running out. True retirement security isn't about having a giant, vulnerable tank. It is about the spring. It is about predictable, reliable income that you do not have to stress over when the evening news announces a market crash. Let me change the way you look at your money forever by introducing you to the two piles strategy. When most people think of retirement, they think of one giant, intimidating pile of money. I want you to split your financial life into two distinct piles. Pile one is your invisible floor. This is your guaranteed recurring income. It includes things like Social Security, any pension you might be fortunate enough to have, and the quiet equity in a fully paid off home. This pile is the absolute foundation of your dignity. Let's look closely at Social Security for a moment, because it is the most undervalued and misunderstood asset in America today. If you are entitled to $2,500 a month in Social Security benefits, do you know how much money you would need to have invested in the stock market to safely generate that exact same amount of income every month without the fear of running out? You would need roughly $750,000 of invested capital. Let that sink in for a moment. You might be sitting there beating yourself up, feeling inadequate for not having $750,000 sitting in a brokerage account, completely ignoring the fact that your decades of hard work have already secured an asset of that exact equivalent value. That invisible floor is already holding you up. And if your home is paid off, you have completely eliminated your largest monthly expense, giving you a level of freedom that many millionaires don't even have. You are already ahead. Now we look at pile two. This is your actual savings. This is your 401k, your IRA, the cash you have managed to set aside over the years. The less than $500,000 that has been causing you so much quiet stress. The critical mistake people make is believing that pile two is supposed to pay for their entire existence. It is not. Pile two is simply the bridge. Its only job is to cover the gap between what your invisible floor provides and what your actual everyday lifestyle costs. And beyond that, it is there to fund the joy, the travel, the unexpected beautiful moments of your later years. Once you realize that your savings are just a supplement to a rock solid foundation you have already built, the terrifying math completely changes. Let's look at this through the lived experiences of two very different people. We will call them Sarah and Richard. Sarah is 65 years old. If you look purely at her investment accounts, you might feel worried for her because she only has $300,000 saved. But Sarah understands the real game. Over the years, she prioritized paying off her modest mortgage, so her current housing costs are just property taxes and insurance. She also strategically delayed taking her Social Security, so her monthly benefit grew and is now maximized, giving her a steady, inflation-adjusted $2,800 a month. Her basic living expenses, the things she needs to simply exist comfortably and healthily, total $2,500 a month. Sarah's Pile 1, her guaranteed income, completely covers her life. She never has to touch her $300,000 just to survive. If the stock market crashes tomorrow, Sarah's daily life does not change one bit. She sleeps perfectly well. Now look at Richard. Richard is the poster child for traditional financial success. He has $900,000 saved and invested, but Richard took his Social Security as early as possible at 62, drastically and permanently reducing his payout. He still carries a large mortgage because a financial advisor told him it was smarter to keep his money invested in the market. His basic living expenses are heavy, hovering around $5,000 a month, but his guaranteed income from Social Security is only $1,800. Every single month, rain or shine, Richard is forced to pull over $3,000 from his investment accounts just to keep the lights on and the bank happy. If the market experiences a severe downturn, Richard is forced to sell his investments at a massive loss just to survive the month. He has 3 times the money Sarah has, but he lives in a constant, exhausting state of financial vulnerability. Peace of mind in retirement is not measured by the absolute size of your investment account. It is measured exclusively by the distance between your guaranteed income and your essential living costs. Sarah has built a life of quiet freedom. Richard has trapped himself under his own heavy overhead. This brings us to what I call human math, and it is a calculation I want you to do tonight at your kitchen table with a simple pen and a blank piece of paper. I want you to sit down and write out exactly what your essential life truly costs. Not the luxury vacations, not the generous gifts for the grandchildren, just the roof over your head, the food on your table, the utilities, and your essential health care. Get brutally honest about that number. Then, I want you to write down what your guaranteed income will be from Social Security and any other fixed, reliable sources. Subtract the essential costs from that guaranteed income. For a lot of you watching this right now, that gap is going to be incredibly small. In some cases, you will find that the gap doesn't exist at all and your floor covers your needs entirely. That small gap is the only thing your savings actually needs to cover. Suddenly, that portfolio of less than $500,000 doesn't look like a tragic failure anymore. It reveals itself as more than enough to bridge the gap, protect you from emergencies, and let you genuinely enjoy the time you have earned. The modern financial industry wants you to remain confused because confusion generates panic, and panic generates action, and action generates fees for them. They want you constantly comparing your quiet, behind-the-scenes reality to an impossible, glittering standard so that you keep striving, keep worrying, and keep handing them control of your capital. But here, we do things differently. We focus on your dignity. We focus on the truth of your lived experience. If this kind of clarity, this kind of calm, realistic approach to your wealth is what you have been desperately searching for as you navigate this phase of your life, I invite you to join us here. Just click the subscribe button. You won't find any loud music, no aggressive sales pitches, and no impossible promises. Just the quiet, honest, and respectful conversations you deserve to have about your money, your security, and your future. You have worked incredibly hard your entire life. You have paid into the system decade after decade. You have weathered economic storms, raised families, and carried quiet responsibilities that no one else ever saw or thanked you for. You are not behind schedule. You are exactly where you need to be, armed with the profound experience and the human resilience that no financial advisor can ever model on a spreadsheet. The system has simply been measuring your lifelong success with the wrong ruler. It is time to put their ruler down and look clearly at the reality of the foundation you have built. You have enough. You are enough. Take a deep breath, look at your real numbers tonight, and step into this next beautiful chapter of your life, not with the fear they sold you, but with the profound, unshakable peace of mind you have rightfully earned.